What's up, Snarf Goblins? Snarf Goblins. I just finished All-Star Superman, but since I already posted a video tonight, I'm not going to be posting this video tomorrow, so by the time you'll be watching this, I would have read it yesterday. But I just finished it, and I have a regular size TPB too, but I used the compact one to read this one just because it's easier to carry around my house if I'm doing something. But I have a few notes because people say All-Star Superman is one of, if not the best Superman stories of all time, and I'm gonna have to disagree. Now, I haven't read a bunch of Superman stories, but I can already say with confidence that Superman Man of Steel, like that volume 1, that hardcover that I have, I don't think I may have showed it in my library tour or something. It's already better than this. Now, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with All-Star Superman. Also, I'm about to say some spoilers, so if you want to read it yourself, then maybe click off the video, but I'm getting into spoilers now. It's not that bad of a spoiler, so I'm not going to spoil anything about it too badly. But basically, the story is about Superman when he is on his deathbed because of some sort of overdose of solar radiation or something. So apparently he's destined to do like 12 great feats or something before he dies. And for the most part, this book is intriguing and it kept me interested throughout for most of it. But there are two arcs during this book that I found incredibly mind-numbing and boring. And the first, okay, not both of them were that bad. One of them was really bad, and one of them was just meh. The first one that I really didn't like was the Bizarro arc, whenever Superman went to Bizarro Planet. The content of the arc wasn't anything super bad or anything, but actually having to read Bizarro characters talk is so annoying. Like, if you don't know what Bizarros are in the DC universe, they basically say everything the opposite way as regular people do. So like something that's good would be bad. Saying hello would be goodbye. And it gives me a headache reading this shit. And the arc is not short either. It took me a while to get through. So I'm just reading so many pages of these guys talking like, goodbye, me hate you. No, you hate me, or something like, I'm just like, reading that shit. I fucking hate it. Now, it actually made me stop reading it. Not entirely the Bizarro arc, but another arc that I didn't like after it was a little bit more spoilers, but some Supermen that come from the future or like other times or something come to tell Superman about something and also defeat this monster, something like that. But that arc was also boring in my opinion. I was so bored during that arc. And it came right after the Bizarro one. That's what made me take a break from reading this. And I only just finished it today. Like, I started reading this maybe closer to about a month ago. And I didn't finish it till just now, just because of how boring those two arcs were. Now, like, don't get me wrong. This book's still good. Like, the story is still good. But another thing I didn't really like was Jimmy Olsen in this story. In this story, he's just like randomly a fashionista all of a sudden, and he's always dressing in all these like tutti frutti outfits, which I didn't like. Don't get me wrong, characters dressing in tutti frutti outfits can be done right. I'm a huge JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan. I get being a fashion nerd or wanting to draw your characters in a unique way, give them a unique design, even if it's unconventional and maybe a little bit gay, to be honest. But it didn't really fit his established character, for one. That's one thing I didn't like. And his outfits weren't very fashionable either. They were really dumb. So that's another thing I didn't really like about the story. Pretty much everything else about it is good, though. But I would not call this the peak of Superman. Not even close. Anyway, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably say it's like a 7. Because the peaks are here, but the bad parts are like all the way down here. I mean, I would put them lower, but you know, they gotta fit inside the screen. I'd say peaks are closer to here and troughs are like there. So It's really good in certain parts. It's really bad in certain parts. Oh yeah, one more thing I didn't like. Lex Luthor's motivation is really stupid. So this is okay. In Man of Steel Volume 1, Lex Luthor's motivation is to get rid of Superman because he's a corrupt businessman and Superman doesn't have any proof, so he isn't convicting him per se, and he's not a super violent person, so he'd rather go through lawful manners and he doesn't like hurting people because he's just such a nice guy. But he still wants to convict Lex Luthor, so that's why Lex Luthor considers him an op. But in this story, the fact that he's not a human, but he's really cool and strong and shit, is pretty much the only reason Lex Luthor hates him. Before Superman even came around, Lex Luthor was just a really wealthy, basically just Jeff Bezos in this universe, but then he just has a massive hate boner for Superman for basically no reason. So that's something I didn't really like. But other than that, it was pretty good. I don't think Superman's death was super ceremoniously done, by the way, either. Like, in Death of Superman, that shit had me like, damn. But in this one, it's just kind of like, oh, the story's over now? Okay, cool. So, 7 out of 10 is what I'd give that. Not peak, not bad. It's a good Superman story. I recommend it for those of you that like Superman.
How dare you say All-Star Superman is anything but peak?
And to those of you saying things like, why are you punching yourself in the face and talking to yourself alone in your room? Man, shut the fuck up. I don't need to see a psychiatrist. You just don't understand the schizo grind set.